Classic movies.
Here he is.
Hey guys.
Hey. Welcome home.
Hello. How you doing? I went up to yesterday.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
It's a good day.
Hey,
Great day.
It's
a great day.
here.
Where are you going?
Oh, I don't know.
Did you get your package?
I did. I saw it on the way.
Right. Okay. I don't like the sound of that.
28? What is that?
So welcome, everybody. As you can see by the crowd behind me, this is one that many people worked hard on to make happen here in the legislature and on Beacon Hill. And I just want to congratulate Representative Rogers, Senator Lovely, the Speaker, the Senate President, and the rest of the team from the legislature for the work that they put in to make sure that we closed some issues with respect to federal law and gave moms here in the Commonwealth some opportunities that they deserve and that we should all be supportive of in this day and age when 65 to 75% of all the women between the ages of 25 and 55 are in the workforce. Many people might call this long overdue and common sense reforms, but I think for all of us here today, we'll just leave it at a job well done. And with that, I will pass the podium over to you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Governor. It's great to see I have a quorum of the House here today. When I try to get them to come to caucus, it's not that easy, but today is a little bit different. And I think this shows the enthusiasm that we have relative to getting this bill passed into law. And thank you, Governor. Thank you for working with us, and thank you for signing it, the legislation. And it's such a privilege to be here as we to celebrate the signing of this critical bill into law. And I'm so pleased to represent the House and expressing our gratitude to those whose work in making Massachusetts a more just place. The Pregnant Workers Fairness Act is a reflection of our great state's values. More importantly, though, it is a law that will have real and very significant impact for women all across this state. I want to thank Representative Dave Rogers, the House sponsor of the bill, who with this and the marijuana legislation, he's having a pretty good year, by the way. Next, he's going to be, I told him earlier, next he's going to be playing third base for the Red Sox.
That'd be better.
But the representative showed immense leadership by bringing stakeholders together to strengthen this legislation. I also want to thank Chairman Broder, and I also want to thank Senator Lovely as well, and of course my colleague and good friend, Senate President Rosenberg. To the mother women, thank you so much for your efforts, for your advocacy on behalf of this legislation. And especially thank you to Alejandra for coming into my office and really giving me a full story of what this was all about and what it meant to people like you. As all of you know, this law provides essential protections and guarantees safety measures. Pregnant women will now no longer be subject to discrimination when it comes to common sense accommodations. As a father and a grandfather, I know it's hard to believe I'm a grandfather, the thought of not addressing this issue is both frightening and reprehensible. I am proud that we working on a comprehensive consensus-building bill to get this done. As always, we approach issues of justice and equity with a pragmatism that ensures that we can cross the finish line. As events in Washington threaten the safety and security of women, we stand for the opposite here in Massachusetts. And we recommit ourselves to working in a collaborative and bipartisan manner. In closing, I most importantly want to thank, as I mentioned earlier, the advocates who courageously shared their stories with me and with all of the folks here. By raising your voices, you have become heroes, or heroines, I should say, who have made Massachusetts a safer place. Thank you very much. I now have the honor of introducing the lady who led this, I don't know if I'd say a fight, but who led this charge over in the Senate as well, who took this on and did such a remarkable job in making sure that it passed through the Senate as well. A lady who's known very well by all of us. Please give a warm welcome to Senator Joan Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I begin my remarks, I actually want to tell Alejandra's story, if I could. It was in 2006 that you became pregnant. And at that time, Alejandra was working in a medical laundry facility where her position required her to work 10-hour shifts, pushing heavy carts that weighed up to 600 pounds. Upon learning she was pregnant, rather than moving to lighter duty, Alejandra's supervisor gave her more hours and additional responsibilities. Alejandra was now in charge of training new workers and ensuring that all the work in her section was completed. These additional responsibilities required Alejandra to do additional lifting and to run to complete her work on time. When Alejandra asked her supervisor to assign fewer trainees on busy days, her request was rejected. She was told that she could either accept the work as it was, or she could stop working. Alejandra did not have the option of leaving her job. She needed the money to support her family. So Alejandra kept working, pushing 600-pound carts, lifting piles of laundry, and running to keep up. When she was 19 weeks along in her pregnancy, Alejandra worked a 10-hour day on a Sunday. When she got home, she had horrible pains in her abdomen. The next day, at the end of her workday, she realized that she was bleeding. When she went to her doctor, she was informed that she was losing her baby. Alejandra should not have had to choose between having a healthy pregnancy and earning an income for her family. It is for women like Alejandra that we filed the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, and I'm so overjoyed today that the bill will now become law. As the Speaker said, this act closes gaps in existing law by prohibiting discrimination against pregnant workers and explicitly requiring the provision of reasonable accommodations for pregnancy and related conditions. I want to thank Representative Rogers for filing this bill on the House, and also to former Representative Ellen Story, who really began this fight. I want to thank the chairs of the Joint Committee on Labor, Workforce, and Development, Senator Lewis and Representative Broder, for their work on this bill, to Mother Woman, to AIM, to you, Mr. Speaker, and to you, Mr. President, for your leadership in bringing this bill to fruition today. We had a few bumps along the way to get this bill here today, but those bumps have actually created better relationships, and we know how to work together to get things done here in Massachusetts. Thank you very much.
Questions on this one? I think the biggest one is the reasonable accommodation around work scheduling, workload, and items like that. Senator, Representative, do you want to speak to any of the others? Reasonable accommodation is a pretty broad term, and it basically puts, I think, the onus on employers to develop what I would refer to as a set of standards and practices, and then to pursue them. And my guess is that folks over time will gravitate toward a set of best practices and standards on this. But if they don't, they are now in a position to be held accountable.
I would echo what the governor said.
Hop up, Dave.
A lot of this borrows, the term reasonable accommodation borrows from a concept in disability law. But there are some conditions that women have while they're pregnant that don't rise to the level of a disability and yet still require accommodation. So this fills the gap between what would be a disability under the Americans with Disabilities Act or other disability law in the Commonwealth and the conditions that women experience while they're pregnant. So it's crucial, and it's a great day.
Other questions on this? All right, I'm going to let the Senate get back to work and the House as well. If folks have questions they want to ask on other topics, let's give these guys a chance to get back to work, but we should give them a round of applause for their...
Big time.
Nice job.
Is it okay?
That was a great answer.
Great.